Hey there, friends. Chuck Scoggins here with the Church Memo, and today I have one of my best friends in all the world with me, Deron Yevoli. Deron works with Summit Integrated Solutions, and they install AVL, which is audio, video, and lights, and they do that for churches big and small all across the country. I thought it would be fun to talk to Deron today. He's working from home, I'm working from home, but these guys at Summit, they're talking and working with a lot of churches, and as a general rule, they tend to have their pulse on how things are going. And so with all this instability going on, I thought you might enjoy just hearing his perspective on where other churches like yourself are as we head into Easter. So with that being said, without further ado, let's jump into my conversation with my good friend Deron. Hey, Deron, man. Thanks for taking time and joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Hey, so you guys at Summit work with a lot of churches, big and small, all over the country. So I thought you guys might have a good perspective on just overall, in general, what's going on with churches all over the place. I know the local pastor's probably like feeling isolated and stuck in his little thing. So I thought it'd be good just to get you to give us a landscape of what you guys are seeing out there.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot, and we're seeing kind of a range, right? We're seeing, some of our clients who have, a larger attendance, more staff, we're seeing them pivot very quickly, and they're leaning into their creativity side of it, right? So they're doing kind of these almost worship videos, something that might have been a music video back in the day. They're filming their worship like that. Their pastor's teaching an environment. You can tell they're putting a lot of production behind the scenes, and it's different than their norm, but they have that expertise, and then we're seeing other folks we work with all the way down to like, man, I talked to a guy the other day who was burning DVDs because his people in his town don't have internet. Right. And so, man, that pastor is hustling to get the message out. And everywhere in between, right? People who have never streamed before are having to figure it out. People who have kind of dabbled are now trying to really make it a platform. So man, it's just it's a gambit of where churches have been and where they're going with it. And now they're kind of settling into a new normal, right? Since we're going to be here for a hot second, now they're starting to ask the question of how do we make this sustainable? How do we make this better? How do we stop streaming on our iPhone and start using a real camera and make it look better? How do we make the audio better? Those are probably the questions I've had in the last 2 weeks come to me. The first week was guerrilla warfare. It's just like, how in the world do I get something up on the old intranets? And now it's more, okay, now that I'm up and we've got a little bit of a rhythm, how do we tweak it and make it better?
So to that point, what are some of the things that, like, what are some of the tips you guys are giving them, or what are you seeing guys and ladies do that are helping them be successful at this?
Yeah. Most of our folks who have never streamed before and don't have a tech team, those pastors are getting a fast course in video production. They might be borrowing a photographer's camera in their church, right? And just recording on that. So they're getting a fast education. So when we think about video production, right, we're trying to think, how do you capture the audio well, right? Use a close microphone. Use maybe one of your wireless mics that you have in your system already, right? So you can get nice, clean audio, and it's not the camera 10 foot back. And then how do you get the good video, right? So, I mean, like getting the right camera positioning set up is the big thing. If you have the ability to get some multiple cameras going and recording there, that's a huge thing. The biggest thing that I saw this last weekend that I've been encouraging a couple of churches with is, hey, let's improve your lighting. Let's get good lighting on, your worship leaders and your pastor, and then light what's behind him so it doesn't look like he's in a hole. So yeah, those are kind of things we've been working through this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Easter coming up, are most people pre-recording, or are most people going to live on the edge and go with live streaming?
If it's me, I would pre-record it. I feel like you can have all of your creative options if you pre-record it. You can put a lot of production value into it. You can also guarantee that the camera doesn't lose its battery or something. So I think most of the folks I've been talking to in some way, shape, or form are pre-recording. They might be doing like a simulated live stream, right? Where it's actually been pre-recorded and then the streaming platform just makes it seem like it's live. That's probably 90% of what I've seen. I'm trying to think actually of even one church that's doing live for Easter, and I can't think of one, honestly. So I think it's all pre-recorded if it's me. I do have one or two churches that I know that are doing drive-in church for Easter.
Yeah.
Which whether or not that's legal, I don't know in their state. But here in Colorado, that sounds like it's more than 10 people. But
yeah, it's crazy. Even in a car, that some states are enforcing that. So
yeah, I don't know if they're enforcing it to be clear. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it'd be weird to have the cops show up to your Easter service. I mean, maybe they'll get saved. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I do think. Side note, I do think there's going to be some pretty interesting court battles when this is all said and done.
Yeah,
over some of this, but
I agree with that.
So yeah, it seems like the safe bet with Easter is to pre-record, and I think most people don't realize that you can simulate it being live. And I don't know if people feel like that's deceptive or what's going on there, but like you can pre-record and send it out as it's going out live in real time at the time that your services are supposed to be.
I think about my brother-in-law who's a pastor of a small church in Belgium, right? And he has a little bit of a tech team around him, right? Which is great. So he doesn't have to deal with the technical details. But I think about guys like him who, if they're the one-man band, they are the pastor, the janitor, and the secretary. I think it would free them up a lot to record it, make sure it's good, and then stream it live. And then he could actually be the pastor on that Facebook live stream, like answering questions and talking with people. Maybe during it, maybe just after, I think it would just free him up to help him present the message that he wants to present. And then also not have to wake up at 5 a.m. in a dead sweat because he's not sure his internet's going to work that day. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of advantages. I don't think it's disingenuous. I mean, we live in an age where every single sermon they have is on YouTube and people can play it anytime they want.
Yeah.
So,
and people don't care. I mean, people aren't going to be upset that you pre-recorded your sermon. In fact, if the pastor's there doing what you're saying, shepherding and being pastoral during that time, people are probably actually going to appreciate that you pre-recorded it and prepared ahead of time, and thought of them, earlier in the week. And so I think take the pressure off yourself and get that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And even a church here locally in Colorado they're not even pretending like they're live simulated. They're just like, hey, we're going to put it on YouTube at 8:00. And then we're all just want everybody in the church to go watch it at 8:00. So,
that's awesome.
It doesn't even have to be, you don't have to fake it if that's a big deal for you.
Yeah. Any just words of encouragement that you would give churches as they're navigating this crisis?
That's good. I personally am just proud of the church right now. I think this isn't the path we all would have chosen to get this much gospel on the internet, but at the same point, I'm just proud of the people I see leaning into it, right? And I'm thinking of, the pastors who are nearing retirement who, man, they've done their thing for a long time, and they didn't have to go down this road, but they're doing it because they still believe in the message. So I think the first thing is take a breath. Like, I think what we're putting out right there is incredible, and feel the encouragement. I mean, most of the churches that I've talked to lately have seen a serious uptick in their clicks versus their butts in seats, right? So they actually might be having more people continuously watch the entire service than they actually had attend their church. And so the fact that there's that much of the gospel getting out there is incredible. And yes, we can make it better. And yes, your production quality might not be amazing, but faith comes by hearing, right? And just by getting your content out there, regardless of how it looks, you are, furthering the Great Commission and the Great Commandment.
Yeah. Do you think we'll go back to normal, or do you think there's a new normal after this is all over?
I think some people are going to hope for a return to normal, but I don't think there's a new normal. I mean, Yeah, I'm thinking of some of the conversations I've had this week with churches who swore up and down we would never stream, we'll never have cameras, and not from a they hate them, but they just didn't think it was them, right?
Yeah.
And even they are saying, man, we need to consider this. We're just seeing the impact for our people, and why not? Like, since we had to try and it's working, why not continue? Now, I do think it'll look different for them because they're pre-recording it and they have to do multiple takes just to get all the camera shots because they only have 2 cameras, right? They're being real scrappy. So I don't think they'll keep doing that, but I think they'll do something.
Personally, I think that people, the congregation, are going to view church differently. I think assembling and gathering is going to have a whole different meaning. And I think people are going to have anxieties, and I think people are going to, they're going to view safety and security and cleanliness and all these things are going to be different. And that's going to shape their view of, gathering in person. So, I think we may return to, assembling in a location, a physical location on Sunday mornings, and most of the people may, return to that. But I think even as part of that, things are going to look different and change. So
are you saying we're not going to have greeters anymore?
I think the greeters are just going to do the elbow bump instead of the handshake.
Or if you remember the Tim Hawkins hand sanitizer and he just pours it over his head. You have how many kids? You're from Arkansas?
That's right. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking a few minutes today and getting on here with me and talking through this. I know you guys are working hard to help churches, and so I appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for what you're doing and investing in the church in your way.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again to my friend Deron for jumping on this podcast with me. Hopefully you were encouraged by some of his perspectives on what's going on in churches all across the nation. And as I wrap up, just let me say this. Let me just tell you this. We are cheering for you. We're over here in our little corner of the world, and we are cheering for you. As we're in Passion Week and as we're headed toward the biggest weekend of the year for Christians, I want you to know, man, we are in your corner. We're praying for you. We're rooting for your success as you present the gospel and as you live out your mission and your calling. We are cheering for you. So go with God's grace, go with God's peace, and lead your church well.